Safe, affordable rental housing with access to good schools, jobs, and transportation contributes to a family's stability and economic sustainability. Grantees and other public and private entities may use CDBG to acquire and/or rehabilitate housing to rent to households with low and moderate incomes. Grantees may provide support for the development of new housing by paying for related costs. These include acquisition of property by public or nonprofit entities, site clearance and assemblage, and site improvements if in public ownership. A grantee cannot undertake new construction directly. However, new construction of rental housing may be carried out by a community-based or nonprofit development organization, provided the development is part of a neighborhood revitalization, community economic development, or energy conservation project. Like other housing activities, how you design your project or program depends on the specific circumstances in your community. You'll need to think about who you will serve and where, types of assistance you'll provide, and partners to work with. You'll need to ensure that your investment is secure and what affordability restrictions you'll place on the property and how you'll monitor them. Who you serve and where will be informed by needs identified in the planning process, the availability of other community resources, and alignment with community goals. For example, your consolidated plan may have given a high priority to rental units for people with extremely low incomes. In order to address this priority, you may have to identify a source of rent subsidy for future tenants who may have little or no income. Possible sources may be the Project-Based Housing Choice Voucher Program or permanent supportive housing programs. Understanding the location of existing rental housing is key to project selection. For example, your community may lack affordable rental housing in higher income areas of town, in the downtown, or may lack high-quality rental property in lower income neighborhoods, or new employers in a grantee's jurisdiction may trigger the need for more housing. In Burlington, Vermont, the grantee went through this planning process and decided to focus on a waterfront area that had only been affordable for higher income households. They identified a city-owned brownfield that could be redeveloped to provide mixed income rental housing. They also decided that it was important to build a variety of bedroom sizes so that families could enjoy the waterfront living. Community development entities receive a variety of proposals, match those proposals to housing goals as well as feasibility and project readiness as part of the funding criteria. While there may be a specific project that you support, you could also develop a rental program that solicits applications for redevelopment of a certain type of property. Eligible properties may be publicly or privately owned, a residential or mixed use, single or multifamily. They may also be mixed income. Working with local housing industry professionals will help you to determine how to best target your funds. Connecting with your housing authority, regional housing providers, and governments will also help you design your activities to be responsive to housing needs in a way that also furthers fair housing. For example, one grantee developed a program to renovate second and third floor vacant spaces in the downtown into residential rental units. Such focused approaches allow CDBG funds to address specific community issues in addition to the provision of housing. In any CDBG-funded rental development, there will be tenant income requirements. The general rule is that 51% of the units in each assisted structure are to be occupied by households with low or moderate incomes. For up-to-date information on income limits in your area, you can use the HUD Program Income Limits, published annually, available online at the HUD Exchange. An income calculator is also available to determine the eligibility of specific applicants. In limited circumstances, CDBG funds may be used in rental developments where less than 51% of the units will be occupied by low and moderate income households. Grantees should consult their field office to learn more. The CDBG regulations state that rents must be affordable to low-income persons. They do not define affordable, although it is generally accepted that a person should pay no more than 30% of their income toward rent and utilities. Keep in mind that when using home and CDBG on the same property, their regulations sometimes differ. In that case, you must follow the most restrictive rules. The CDBG program has no requirement for ongoing compliance with rent restrictions on a CDBG-assisted rental development. However, the grantee may choose to require compliance over a certain number of years, and grantees typically do. Affordability restrictions ensure that the benefits of the CDBG investment will be passed on to new tenants over time, increasing the community's supply of affordable housing. Should you use an affordability restriction, you will need to monitor for compliance. This means ensuring that if there is turnover in tenants, that the new tenant's income meets the low or moderate income threshold. If you discover that this is not the case, you may exercise your right to recapture the funds within the terms of your rental agreement with the property owner. Some things to note: facilities for persons with special needs, homeless shelters, and other facilities are categorized under CDBG as public facilities and not housing. In these cases, rents will be restricted as part of its public use. If a CDBG-funded housing project triggers the Uniform Relocation Act, rents will be restricted under URA regulations, and if CDBG is combined with home in a rental project, then home affordability periods apply. Grantees may provide assistance to property owners in the form of loans, grants, rehabilitation loan guarantees, and interest subsidies. Refinancing existing debt is also possible if necessary for rehabilitation to be feasible. CDBG funds may not be used to pay tenants rent, except in emergencies or as part of a temporary relocation during rehabilitation. In the Burlington, Vermont waterfront development, they used all of these tools, assembling a financing package that included CDBG, a Section 108 loan, and private loans and equity. They donated city land, and they leased the land to a land trust to ensure long-term affordability. Because rental development often includes sophisticated financing such as the waterfront project, developing staff or consultant capacity to do underwriting of projects is important. It's also important to have resources available to assess the capacity and past performance of developers or owners of rental property. The goal is to have good quality units affordable over many years, so project selection criteria should be rigorous. When funding a rental property, you should enter into a written agreement with the property owner that outlines the eligible tenants, any rent restrictions, and the duration of the requirement. This agreement should be recorded to run with the property in case of change of ownership. Thanks for watching Rental Housing Activities. You can end here or watch another video by clicking below.